Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only the best. I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win. I don't want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one. Working hella hard until I get just what I want, yeah. Rises like the sun, yeah, fatal like a gun. Shooter's gonna shoot and I'm gonna shoot until I fall, yeah. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only the best. I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win, yeah.
Hey everybody, sorry about having that up there so quick. How is everyone? Happy Tuesday. I kept thinking it was Wednesday all day today, which I don't want it to be Wednesday because that means break is one more day almost over. So how is everybody? I actually, this morning, I had an appointment, and when I left my house, it was 6 degrees out. And when I got home, it was around 30. So it did warm up a little bit, which is nice. So I see Sinner here. Road Rash, welcome. K-Braze. Victoria, SoFlo, good to see you. Ashtastic. So yeah, I spent a few hours outside today, and it was a little chilly. But it was so nice to get fresh air. I didn't look at YouTube until maybe 4-ish today. So I definitely needed that getaway, so to speak. And I did post pictures on my community page if anyone wants to see the view I had today. Ashtastic says, it got to 56 today in Pennsylvania. I actually walked down to my mailbox instead of driving. Well, that was nice. And Senator says, happy National Muffin Day. I did not know that, so thank you. I actually stopped at my parents' today, and my mom had made chocolate chip cookies, so I did eat one of those. Yeah, and there was no filter, Ashtastic, on those pictures, no filter at all. And it looked a lot warmer than it actually was. Because I think when I was there, it was maybe in the high 20s. So, but I was wandering around. So, I mean, I wasn't as cold if I was just standing still. So today we are going to do updates on the Burnsville shooting incident in which 2 police officers and 1 fire paramedic were shot and killed, and the assailant also died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. And so we are going to learn a little bit more about him, and that'll be at the beginning. And we'll learn about the victims throughout, but at the end, because it's really about the victims and not the assailant, we'll talk much more about them. And I did read that the 4th officer who was shot was released from the hospital. So that is good news as well. Hey, Cocoa Puff. Good to see you. So I'm going to actually start with an article. Let me put that. So this is from ABC News, and this just kind of gives a summary of events, just so that if any of you are not aware of this story, you will have all that you need to know before we get into the updates. So this was from yesterday evening, about a day ago. Horrific. 2 police officers, firefighters shot and killed in Minnesota, officials say. The shooting happened in Burnsville, Minnesota, which is southeast of Minneapolis. It is a suburb. 2 police officers and 1 firefighter were shot and killed in Burnsville, Minnesota on Sunday after responding to a call of family in danger. Horrific news from Burnsville, Wells began his statement on X, which is the governor. While responding to a call of a family in danger, 2 police officers and 1 firefighter lost their lives, and other officers were injured. We must never take for granted the bravery and sacrifices our police officers and first responders make every day. My heart is with their families today, and the entire state of Minnesota stands with Burnsville. Burnsville police officers Paul Elmstrand and Matthew Rugg, along with firefighter Adam Finseth, died Sunday, according to a press release from Burnsville PD. The officers and Finseth, who was working as an EMT, responded to the 1200 block of 33rd Avenue South on Sunday around 1:50 a.m. local time for a call of a domestic situation where a man reported to be armed was barricaded with family members. After arriving, the situation escalated into gunfire with responders, and Elmstrand, Rugg, and Finseth were killed by the gunman. The man who shot and killed the responding officers and EMT was reported dead at approximately 8 a.m. local time, and the other family members left the home and are safe. The man was identified by the Hennepin County Medical Examiner on Monday as Shannon Gooden, 38, of Burnsville. There were 7 children whose ages range from 2 to 15 years old in the residence at the time of the shooting. Today, 3 members of our team made the ultimate sacrifice, Burnsville Police Chief Tanya Schwartz said through tears during the press briefing. They are heroes. The Minnesota Police and Peace Officers Association confirmed that a shooting took place Sunday morning after officers responded to a domestic abuse call, according to a statement posted to Facebook. We are heartbroken. Our law enforcement community is heartbroken. We're just devastated at the horrific loss. Burnsville is a Minnesota suburb located about 15 miles south of Minneapolis. The ATF said in a post on Twitter that agents had responded to the scene. And actually, let's take a look at that because I have not seen that. So, okay, they just link to, it just says ATF agents are responding to a scene in Burnsville, Minnesota, where there have been reports of officers involved in a domestic-related shooting. Information is limited at this time. Please follow Burnsville PD for official updates. And then it just links to a local news story. And actually, I'm going to leave that up because we'll take a look at the City of Burnsville Twitter page. Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar shared a statement on Twitter Sunday morning after being alerted to the fatal shooting by police. They were doing their jobs. They were protecting our community. Noting that she and her husband, John, are praying for them and their families in the Burnsville PD this morning. Minnesota Representative Angie Craig, who represents Burnsville, released a statement Sunday saying, quote, "My heart is broken for the brave officers and first responder lost in the line of duty." Craig noted she's been in contact with the White House to marshal any additional federal resources that may be available. "I'm horrified to see this kind of violence in our community. Today serves as another solemn reminder that those who protect our communities do so at great risk, great personal risk. We must do everything in our power to prevent tragedies like these before they happen and hold violent criminals accountable to the fullest extent of the law." Okay, so we're going to start with, this is a little bit of a longer clip. It's about 9 minutes, but this also goes through everything that is known so far and things like that we may need to know.
We're continuing to follow the fatal shooting of 3 first responders in Burnsville this morning. It happened this morning around 5:30 a.m. Those officers have been identified as Paul Elmstrand and Matthew Ruge, who are 2 Burnsville police officers. Adam Finseth.
And Ruge, I should have known to listen to their name. So Ruge, I was saying Rug, so Ruge.
We're continuing to follow the fatal shooting of 3 first responders in Burnsville this morning. It happened this morning around 5:30 a.m. Those officers have been identified as Paul Elmstrand and Matthew Ruge, who are 2 Burnsville police officers. Adam Finseth, who was a Burnsville firefighter and paramedic. Sergeant Adam Medlicott, who was also hurt with wounds that do not appear to be life-threatening. And unfolding just before 2 a.m., Burnsville police called to the 12,600 block of 33rd Avenue South on a report of a domestic situation where a man was reportedly armed. And after arriving, the situation quickly escalated into gunfire with those first responders.
We have team coverage tonight of this tragedy. Bab Santos is near the scene in Burnsville with accounts from neighbors who heard this unfold.
Courtney Godfrey live outside Burnsville City Hall, where a vigil is set to begin at 6:30. And we begin, though, tonight with Karen Scullin, who was at a news conference that wrapped up just a short time ago.
And Karen, a difficult day for the city of Burnsville as they continue to investigate this.
Absolutely. A very, very heavy day here at City Hall. City leaders holding back tears as they address the media, often referring to Burnsville employees as family. Family, that word was used quite a bit today. The BCA, who is investigating the situation, also updating us on what happened. Let's roll some of the video from the scene. And it's all started around 2 a.m. this morning. Police responded to a domestic call. Inside the home was a man, a woman, and 7 children ages.
And I did just look, the population of Burnsville as of 2021 was about 64,000 people. So not a very big city, but quite populated.
It's 2 to 15 years old. Those children and the woman inside were not hurt. At some point, shots were fired inside and outside the home. It's unclear how that exchange of gunfire actually unfolded. Again, though, BCA saying the suspect fired from multiple locations, both inside and outside the home. Shooting outside is what I mean there. Now, with that, they could not say where exactly the 2 officers and the paramedic were shot and killed. We do know the suspect fired out the window of the top floor of the split level.
And I did see that all the 2 officers and the fire paramedic were all pronounced deceased within 13 minutes of each other. And they all arrived at the hospital around 5:30, 6 a.m., which means they were speaking with this man and trying to end the situation for at least 5 hours. And why this man chose to do what he did, no one will know, unfortunately. But they are true heroes for trying to talk this man down. And the fact that the mom and the 7 children made it out unharmed is pretty amazing.
That's when that SWAT vehicle was hit. 6 bullets fired into that windshield, but neighbors telling me they heard just a hail of gunfire. It sounded like a war zone, he said. We were told there was a lot of negotiation before this gunfire unfolded. They tried to negotiate with him for quite some time, but ultimately, as we know, 2 officers were killed along with a firefighter paramedic. We were also told the suspect was dead. Unclear, though, if it was a suicide or if he was in fact killed by police. Now let's hear from the police.
And it was determined by the medical examiner that he did die from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
And the fire chiefs on this very, very difficult day.
We're heartbroken. We are heartbroken. We are going to need time to be together. Please, our families need time to grieve. They need time to be together. We need you to pray for them. That's what we need right now.
Our folks come to work every day and are willing to give up the ultimate sacrifice of their life, but no one expects it to happen. It's a tragic day. We're all grieving, and we're all trying to understand what happened and why.
I can tell you Governor Walz was also here recognizing the gravity of the situation. There are numerous departments on hand here from all over the metro. And I have also witnessed a number of community members walk up to police to tell them they are thinking and praying for them. One man outside City Hall earlier today was waving a blue line flag. Back here live, I can tell you this is just a very, very difficult day, not only for the city of Burnsville, for Dakota County, and really the entire state. A lot of people recognizing that this is just a heartbreaking situation here. Let's go live now to my colleague, Babs Santos, who was at the scene where this all unfolded in the overnight hours. Babs?
Karen, it has been a traumatic day in this neighborhood. Earlier, we saw a SWAT vehicle just riddled with bullets across the entire front side. It had to be towed away. And then a few hours after that, a man who identified himself as the brother of one of the police officers killed showed up as family members got the news of what had happened today. Really, so many people in Burnsville today, so shaky.
And I decided not to show this one video of the wife of one of the fallen officers, but one thing that resonated with me is that she said when she saw a squad car outside her home, she knew her husband was gone. And that is just so heartbreaking because they have 2 little kids. One of them was 5 months old, and I believe the other one was about 2 years old. Again, I don't know specifically. I can't remember the other age, but I know that the youngest baby was 5 months old.
Taken up by this news.
You know, if I had to guess, probably 20 to 30, gunshots.
Families woke up to loud bangs and gunfire on Sunday morning, the terrifying sounds of a gun battle in their normally quiet Burnsville neighborhood, all after police say a man barricaded himself inside of a home with his family just before 2 a.m. Connor Noonan lives a block away from where it happened.
We heard a lot of rapid fire A lot of gunshots.
Alex Martinez and Carmen Schaefer live across the street from Sunday's chaos and say they looked out the window to see police officers running in every direction to surround this house on 33rd Avenue South.
I saw a body on the ground, and they were screaming.
Burnsville police later confirmed these 2 police officers and a firefighter paramedic were shot dead, while the 4th officer had to be hospitalized but is expected to survive.
It's just so heartbreaking. We really feel for them.
And again, the officer who was hospitalized has been released.
If there's anything we can do as a Burnsville community, they just need to say the word.
The BCA has now taken the lead on this investigation, all while rattled neighbors do some investigating of their own.
Their bedroom window was shot. We have a hole in the window and and then our siding.
Authorities sent out a shelter-in-place notification as the bullets were flying. Later, by 8 a.m., law enforcement says the suspect was found dead, and his family members, 7 children according to neighbors, were able to safely leave the home.
We saw the kids come out of the house. I was grateful, but I felt so awful for those kids and what they had to endure, and the mom and just the terror that happened, in that house for those kids. They'll never be the same.
Tonight, in just under an hour, the city of Burnsville will host a vigil for people to gather and mourn this loss today. That's happening at the Burnsville City Hall. Our reporter, Courtney Godfrey, will be there tonight, so I want to send it over to her now.
Thanks, Babs. And as you heard my colleague Karen Scullin mention, the community really showing up for this city and for the police department here. We've seen a constant stream of neighbors and other police departments showing up to lay flowers on the squad cars. I'll step out so you can see, but Officer Elmstrand and Officer Rouge's squad cars are already parked here outside of the Burnsville Police Department as a growing memorial takes shape outside of the department here. And in the coming days, this community and the entire state will come to honor these fallen heroes with formal memorials and ceremonies. Usually those events are backed by the Minnesota Law Enforcement Memorial Association. I talked to the organization's president earlier today, who said they have yet to meet with the victims' families. They probably will in the coming days, but they are ready to help, pointing out that this is not just the families themselves who are hurting from this loss, but that every man and woman in uniform is deeply impacted by these tragic deaths.
Those people made a sacrifice that was bigger than themselves today, and the rest of us will continue to put this uniform on, whichever uniform it is, because we believe in what it is that we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, we heard the city manager today say it's important that we take care of each other today, just echoing the sentiment that the city is in mourning, that the city is grieving. But it's not just the city, as you heard Governor Walz say during that press conference earlier today, it's the entire state. Again, a vigil will be taking place here tonight at 6:30 as we watch this memorial grow, and we will bring you that vigil live here on Fox 9. Kelsey, Randy.
Can't state enough, and it's really hard to put into words how the magnitude of how heavy this is and how daunting this is for family and friends and everyone else involved.
And in his closing remarks today, the governor also said, as you see those flags flying at half staff, remember the courage it takes to sign up for a job like this.
And yeah, K-Braze, even though the kids had nothing to do with it, they will deal with this for the rest of their lives. And I do have a video clip of the mom of some of the children. So not the mother that was in the home with them, but a mom of some of the kids who were in the house.
I confirmed through multiple sources that police responded to the Burnsville home because Shannon Gooden's girlfriend, who lived with him there, called 911 early that morning to report child abuse. There were 7 children living in that home. 3 of them, Gooden.
And so I hadn't realized that it was Gooden's girlfriend who was at the home with him and 7 children. So again, I don't know if the girlfriend was the mom of any of the children, but we will hear from the mom of some of them later on.
Had with his ex-girlfriend, Noemi Torres. Noemi spoke with me today about the abuse she suffered at Gooden's hands, what her children witnessed inside the home that night, and how they're now dealing with the aftermath.
And she was like, you need to come pick the kids up.
Noemi Torres received a text message from the girlfriend of her ex-boyfriend, Shannon Gooden,
This was a dangerous person.
about the nightmare unfolding on 33rd Avenue in Burnsville early Sunday morning. Noemi says 3 of her children she shared with Gooden were in the house as Gooden began shooting at police and first responders.
She said that she ran into the bathroom and he just started open firing, and she actually got a glass shard hit her.
Hearing the story later from her 14-year-old daughter, Noemi learned how close her children were to dying.
It was just like, you wasn't scared at all? She was like, no. I was like, did you get a scare at any point in time? She was like, after my dad had asked me, like, do you want to come with me? And I
Oof, and let me,
like,
I'm going to change that pause. So her daughter had said her dad asked her, do you want to come with me? I would assume that would mean, do you want to die with me? Because what else could it mean? I mean, if I was a 14-year-old, I know I would be terrified.
And when he said come with, does that mean come with to die?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So I was correct in my assumption. So I know, assuming isn't always good, but the reporter actually asked her the question that I had wondered.
Noemi says her daughter and another teen were in the room when Gooden killed himself.
Oh, God.
During her abusive relationship with Gooden, Noemi says he would...
That poor kid. I should say poor kids. But to be in the room with him when he did that...
threaten her that he would shoot police.
Whenever he thought that I would call the cops, like, to throw fear in me, he's like, I'm going to have a stand-up. I'm going to kill everybody. And I'm going to, it's always been immortalizing like this fantasy of how he's going to go.
Because of a felony conviction, Gooden was not allowed to possess firearms.
I found out about the guns yesterday.
Noemi had no idea the arsenal of weapons he had, which her kids and Gooden's girlfriend now tell her included rifles, handguns, and ammunition.
It's just a scary feeling to know that they weren't in that much danger. Like, I tried so hard to get them from their dad.
So often on the losing end of their ongoing custody fight, Noemi...
Oh my gosh. So I hadn't watched this whole thing. So here, this mom was fighting for custody, and apparently dad had custody, which is interesting considering the charges that he has had in the past. I mean, I can empathize with that mom because she knew how dangerous he was and she was fighting it, and she was on what seems like the losing end.
Noemi's heart is broken by what Gooden did to the first responders and in turn to his family.
Even though their dad is this monster, that's still their father. They love, they had unconditional love for him. And it hurts me because like somebody so evil like that, and they still get all the love from their children. My main focus is just to get their mental health in order, because it's not going to be like overnight. It's going to be something that's an ongoing thing.
Now, Noemi actually had a custody hearing scheduled for tomorrow. They shared custody, but the kids stayed with their dad 2/3 of the time, as ordered by a judge. Julie.
Absolutely tragic. Thank you, Lou.
So she had her kids 1/3 of the time. Dad had them 2/3 of the time. And thank goodness those kids got out alive. Hey, hippie. Yeah, I watched some of the procession to the funeral home today too. So sad. All right, so now this is a short clip. Burnsville shooting suspect identified by authorities following deadly standoff. And I actually, when I was putting this together, I thought the last clip I had the wrong story because this guy looked so different from that photo in the last clip to what he looks like in this clip.
Also, in just the last couple of hours, Fox 9 has been able to confirm the identity of the now deceased suspect. We have team coverage on this tonight with our Bab Santos and Mills Hayes live in Burnsville, Corin Hoggard live at the Capitol, and our Paul Bloom in our newsroom live center with the latest breaking details.
And that's where we begin tonight with Paul Bloom. Paul?
Randy, Kelsey, let's start with the heroes in all of this. The Hennepin County Medical Examiner reporting today that firefighter paramedic Adam Finseth was fatally shot in the arm and torso. Officer Matthew Ruge hit in the chest. Officer Paul Elmstrand was killed, struck multiple times, and a hail of gunfire. Now here on your screen, the suspect confirmed dead. Authorities now identifying him as Shannon Gooden. He was 38 years old. We've got a 2007 Dakota County jail booking photo of Gooden. He has a troubling history of violence and domestic abuse dating back years. In fact, the courts imposed a lifetime ban, barring him from ever owning a firearm. Questions tonight about gunman Shannon Gooden and how the 38-year-old was able to get a hold of guns and ammunition for the deadly confrontation with emergency responders early Sunday morning at his Burnsville home.
I will say there were multiple firearms recovered from inside of the residence.
Authorities have said Gooden was barricaded inside with a woman and 7 children for hours, following a 911 call about a, quote, domestic situation. We know from Gooden's court records he had a conviction from a 2007 assault that stripped him of his rights to ever own a firearm. In that case, Gooden ran at a guy with a knife in a Burnsville shopping center parking lot before chucking landscaping rocks at the victim.
Okay, so in 2007, he had an assault conviction for attacking someone with a knife and then throwing rocks at them.
Years later, Gooden appealed to the court so he could own guns again. Prosecutors said at the time Gooden remained a risk to public safety, citing attacks on the mothers of his children. One he allegedly headbutted, giving her a concussion. The other apparently reported she feared Gooden would kill her. He allegedly used a knife to cut.
And he was still allowed primary custody of his children with that woman. I don't know about the other woman or the other mom, but with the mom we heard from, with this history, he was given primary custody of his children with her.
Cut her clothes and assaulted her by pulling her hair and...
Right, Corinne? That's what I'm saying. Now I question why he was ever allowed to have his kids with this history. I mean, it's still their dad, but for a judge to give him primary custody or a majority of, the majority of time with his children, that's interesting to me.
And throwing her against the wall. And in the end...
so he cut her clothes and assaulted her by pulling her hair and throwing her against the wall. Again, violent behavior, but a judge still allowed him to have his children the majority of the time. And I'm just going to back up a little bit so we can hear that again without me interrupting, because I think it's important.
2007 assault that stripped him of his rights to ever own a firearm. In that case, Gooden ran at a guy with a knife in a Burnsville shopping center parking lot before chucking landscaping rocks at the victim. Years later, Gooden appealed to the court so he could own guns again. Prosecutors said at the time Gooden remained a risk to public safety, citing attacks on the mothers of his children. One he allegedly headbutted, giving her a concussion. The other apparently reported she feared Gooden would kill her. He allegedly used a knife to cut her clothes and assaulted her by pulling her hair and throwing her against the wall. And in the end, the judge rejected Gooden's appeal, meaning no guns. Yet you heard in our story right there, authorities said multiple firearms were found inside his Burnsville house. We're live in the live center for you tonight. Paul Bloom, Fox 9.
All right. Thanks, Paul.
And I like Paul. He was very animated with how he was reading those charges. And he also, you know, he was very, like, he wasn't monotone like a lot of reporters seem to be. So I liked Paul a lot. All right, so just a little bit more. One thing, I don't know if it's this clip. It's either this clip or the next one. Just as a warning, there is a video of this man who posted a video on Facebook of him target practicing with a rifle. So just for a disclaimer, I believe it's this clip. If it's not this one, it's the next one, but I'm pretty sure it's this one.
We start tonight with a look at a growing memorial in Burnsville. People from near and far stopping by to pay their respects to the 2 police officers and 1 firefighter shot to death early Sunday morning. Officers Paul Elmstrand and Matthew Ruge and firefighter Adam Finseth were killed responding to a domestic incident. Within the hour, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension identified this man, 38-year-old Shannon Golden, as the suspected shooter.
Around 2 a.m. yesterday, investigators say Gooden barricaded himself inside a home with multiple family members, including 7 children between the ages of 2 and 15. Things escalated and the 3 responders were shot. Gooden is also dead. The mayor of Burnsville says he shot and killed himself. His wife and children were not hurt. We have team coverage on this developing story tonight.
And so the last clip said it was his girlfriend who lived with him. This clip is saying it was his wife. So I'm not sure if it was a girlfriend or wife. Either way, she's safe and the children are safe. So that's what matters.
Eric Shalou is live with loved ones' reaction to the sudden loss of paramedic Finseth.
Pafua Yang has an in-depth look at the officers, Elmstrand and Ruge, who they were. But we start with Renee Cooper digging deeper into the suspect's background. Renee?
Well, Minnesota court records reveal Shannon Gooden had a history of domestic violence and a lifetime ban from possessing firearms when investigators say he opened fire on Sunday morning.
They're currently negotiating with the male officer. Still, he's refusing to come out.
Horrifying moments laid out in scanner traffic in the wee hours of Sunday morning.
There's still 7 kids inside the residence.
A man who the BCA describes as heavily armed, holed up inside a home.
Others have access to multiple firearms, including handguns and rifles.
Before shooting and killing 3 first responders, injuring another, and then ultimately taking his own life. Court records reveal 38-year-old Shannon Gooden should have never had access to those guns to begin with.
My heart just drops out of my chest.
Lawmakers from across the aisle,
The whole thing is a tragic situation.
pausing for a moment of silence on Monday before reflecting on what we now know about the suspect's criminal history, starting with a 2008 felony conviction in Dakota County for second-degree assault. Tacked onto that sentence was a lifetime ban on gun possession. Years later, in 2020, Gooden petitioned the court to reinstate his gun rights, and a judge denied it, citing more encounters with police and 2 orders of protection filed against him. One alleging domestic abuse.
And so again, I keep saying the same question. But if this man had a felony conviction, 2 orders of protection against him, why did a judge give him primary custody of his children? That boggles my mind.
And the other, domestic assault.
Criminals don't follow the law. And we have to be better prepared on the whole criminal justice system to react.
We do background checks. We've got the red flag laws. All of these are pieces of the puzzle, and the data shows that they will have an effect in reducing violence in our communities. But you're not going to catch every situation. It's just not possible.
Now, to be clear, this is likely an incomplete look at court records, and we didn't have access to the full picture because courthouses are closed for the President's Day holiday, of course. We'll get out to the courthouse tomorrow and continue to keep everybody updated.
A lot more to
going
learn.
on. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Renee.
Thank you, Renee.
Okay. Oh, Ashtastic, that's terrible. There was, so years ago at a job I had, there were these two girls, same situation. They were kept in cages, not socialized. No one talked to them. They couldn't read, they couldn't write. And my organization, we couldn't give them what they needed. So they had to go to a more intense therapy establishment. But how can people treat other people like that, let alone your own children? It just, I think we had talked about it yesterday with the live I did with the parents who, their children had not been seen since 2018. And the little girl who was 3 was found in a metal container filled with hardened concrete. And the little boy was found in the trunk of his mom's car at a scrapyard. And, I personally, why don't we make sure parents are fit to have kids? I mean, obviously you can't do that because that's, against the freedoms of this country. But some people, I believe should not have children. Corinne, I don't know. I feel like the judge should have known. You know what I mean? If he's a convicted felon, I would think that any family court judge would have that information, especially the orders of protection. Then again, I don't know Minnesota law, so it may be different, but I just feel like that would be something really important that they should.
Solemn tribute today outside of Burnsville City Hall. Flags here and across the state are flying at half-staff to honor 3 fallen first responders.
These are the 3 who lost their lives, Officers Matthew Ruge and Paul Elmstrand, and firefighter Adam Finseth. Here's new video of a moving tribute to Finseth. Fire trucks and police officers guided his hearse from Minnetonka down Highway 169 to Jordan.
Officer Adam Medlicott was also shot. He was in the hospital, but is now recovering at home. The shooting yesterday morning has saddened and shocked the state.
Tributes continue to pour in today. State investigators are also looking to gather clues. You can see the evidence markers outside of the home where the shooting took place. Meanwhile, the memorial outside of Burnsville City Hall is growing. People have come from far and wide to pay their respects.
My wife just came in and prayed, and you just kind of your heart is reminded of what these guys do every day.
One big question this evening is who did this and why?
Reg Chapman is here now to answer at least one of those questions for us. He just spoke with a woman whose children were inside that home at the time of the shooting. Hi, Reg.
Hey, Amelia, within the past hour, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension confirmed that 38-year-old Shannon Gooden was the gunman. We also just spoke to the mother of 3 of his children who were inside this now boarded up home when the shooting started. Here's what her 12-year-old daughter lived through.
She actually was in the bedroom with her dad the whole entire time. She says she tried to run in the bathroom to, I guess, get away from the chaos that's going on. And she said she was in the bathtub, but then he started shooting out the bathroom window and she got glass shards on her arm.
The first responders were answering a call for help from inside the home. When they arrived, they were met with bullets.
I'm also curious to know who actually called 911, not that it's relevant. However, if he was barricaded inside a room with some of his family members, or maybe all of them, I'm curious who made that call.
From Gooden. Our property records show Shannon Gooden was renting a home first responders showed up at. Court records show Gooden was convicted of disorderly conduct in 2004 and 2005. He was also convicted of second-degree assault with a dangerous weapon in 2007. Gooden petitioned the court in 2020 for restoration of his rights to have a firearm. The petition said Mr. Gooden has taken significant steps to prove his value as a productive and law-abiding citizen. It also said by allowing him to have his gun rights restored, he would be able to protect not only himself, but his family as well. Now, the petition was denied. A video of Gooden.
Yes, and I believe this is, this is the video where they show him at he's having target practice. It looked like in his garage. It's a video that he posted on Facebook. So just know that that is coming up.
On social media shows his interest in guns. He is seen several times firing weapons, and according to scanner reports, he was known to have several guns and ammunition inside his home. Now, I spoke with several friends of Gooden by phone today who say they are in disbelief that he would be involved in such a tragedy. Coming up tonight at 10, we will hear more from his ex-girlfriend and how those children are doing.
Okay, Reg, thank you.
All right. So we're going to now go to an article to learn more about those who lost their lives. And this is from CBS News. Who were the officers and paramedic fatally shot in Burnsville? And again, this is from yesterday. 2 police officers and a paramedic were killed in Burnsville Sunday morning. Burnsville city officials identified the victims as officers Paul Elmstrand and Matthew Ruge and firefighter-paramedic Adam Finseth. They were responding to a call about an armed man whom the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension identified Monday as 38-year-old Shannon Gooden, who was reportedly barricaded inside a residence with family members, including 7 children ranging in age from 2 to 15. City officials say the situation escalated into gunfire, and Elmstrand, Ruge, and Finseth were fatally shot. A third Burnsville Police Department member, Sergeant Adam Medlicott, was wounded and is expected to survive. And again, he was released from the hospital. Gooden died by a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Family members inside the home were able to escape safely, according to city officials. Officer Paul Elmstrand, who again is the one on the far left here, Officer Ruge, and firefighter, paramedic, I want to be able to say it right, Finseth. So Officer Paul Elmstrand, 27, joined the Burnsville Police Department in 2017 as a community service officer and was promoted to officer in 2019. The Chaska resident was a member of the Burnsville Police Department's mobile command staff, Pure Team Honor Guard, and Field Training Unit. He was also a part-time officer with the University of Minnesota Police Department. He died from multiple gunshot wounds, according to the medical examiner's office. And he is also the one who had, let me just find that. The one baby was five months old. And the other, I'm just going to look up because that's going to bother me. 2. Okay, so it was 2. Also, he graduated in 2018 from the University of Northwestern. He is survived by his wife, a 2-year-old daughter, and a 5-month-old son. Officer Matthew Ruge, also 27, joined the Burnsville Police Department in 2020. The Northfield resident was a physical evidence officer and a member of Burnsville Police Department's crisis negotiations team. The HCMEO announced Monday that he died from a gunshot wound to the chest. Firefighter paramedic Adam Finseth, 40, has been a firefighter and SWAT paramedic in the city since 2019. The Savage resident also served as a water rescue trainer and was a member of Burnsville's Health and Wellness Committee. Fire Chief BJ Jungman said Finseth previously worked with the fire departments in Savage and Hastings. He was also a volunteer youth baseball coach for Prior Lake Savage, and he served in the Army's Bravo Company 1st Battalion, 327th Infantry during Operation Iraqi Freedom, according to his LinkedIn page. The HCMEO said he died from gunshot wounds to his right arm and torso. And Officer Medlicott has been with Burnsville Police Department for nearly a decade. He was released from Hennepin Healthcare Monday and is recovering at home. He was Burnsville's Officer of the Year in 2020 and was promoted to Sergeant in 2022. He is a drug recognition expert who also supervises community service officers. At Hennepin Healthcare in downtown Minneapolis, police and first responders from multiple cities gathered to show support. Injured officers are often taken to Hennepin Healthcare due to its status as a level 1 trauma center. And Sunday evening, there was a vigil. I did watch a little bit of that. And so that's it for that one. Oh, Relay Center 327th fought some really intense battles. Pookie, I wondered. I don't know what's going on with notifications. I actually, who was I? Oh, Jonesin. I was watching Jonesin yesterday morning, and I didn't get the notification that she was going live until later in the afternoon. I'm not sure what's happening, but it's bizarre. Okay, and let's see. I'm going to go back here.
Now to our top story, a moving honor for a fallen first responder. Firefighter and paramedic Adam Finseth was carried in a casket draped with an American flag to a funeral home in Jordan yesterday. Finseth was one of 3 first responders killed over the weekend, along with Burnsville police officers Paul Elmstrand and Matthew Ruge.
Kelsey Christensen joins us now live in Burnsville with a look at how the community is remembering them. Kelsey.
Yeah, many loved ones, even strangers, are showing so much support for this firefighter paramedic. Take a look at this video. Firefighters from across the state showed up for this motorcade. So many people coming out, lining the streets, holding flags as the body of 40-year-old Adam Finseth was brought to the funeral home in Jordan, Minnesota. We know Finseth was part of Burnsville Fire for 5 years. Loved ones say he was also a husband and a father, working also as a youth baseball coach. Northfield Hospital posted on social media that he leaves behind a legacy of selflessness, adding that he also served in the Army. People who love him and his family want others to know just how kind he was.
He was a wonderful person, just salt of the earth, very humble and kind, and would be willing to help, I think, anyone. Just a very special, unique individual.
And pictured here, Burnsville police officers Paul Elmstrand and Matthew Ruge were also shot and killed alongside Finseth. They were both 27 years old. Of course, it's going to be a long road ahead for all of these families. The city of Burnsville has verified donation links. Those are posted up on our webpage, kcp.com. Just click under that featured on 5 tab. Leah, Paul.
Kelsey Christensen reporting for us in Burnsville. And today we're also learning more about the man who investigators say.
And speaking of ways to help, I did also post this in the description. There are several ways to help. I did read an article that there are scammers that are saying they're raising money for these fallen officers and EMT, which is really sad. So they had to release a statement about how to help, how to officially help the families of these victims. So how to help the families of fallen Burnsville first responders. The city of Burnsville on Tuesday released information on verified donation site coordinated by Law Enforcement Labor Services. The city of Burnsville says there is now a verified fund to help the families of 2 police officers and a firefighter paramedic who gave their lives trying to keep the community safe. In a news release and social post Tuesday morning, city officials announced that those wanting to make financial donations are now being steered to a site coordinated by Law Enforcement Labor Services, or LELS, saying contributions will be delivered directly to the families. City leaders added that the outpouring of support and contributions already seen over the past 2 days from people across the Twin Cities and greater Minnesota wanting to help the loved ones of the 3 first responders is deeply appreciated. On its website, the LELS details the benevolent fund, saying it provides support and financial aid for the families of LELS members and the families of other Minnesota public safety professionals who are seriously injured or killed in the line of duty, regardless of their union membership. The fund is managed by a board that reviews the circumstances of the first responder's death and, if approved, will transfer funds to eligible family members and survivors. Those wanting to help can donate electronically on the website or by mailing contributions to LES Benevolent Fund Incorporated. And then there's the address. And these links, like I said, are in the description. In the news release, Burnsville city officials emphasize that LELS Benevolent Fund, I don't know why that word is so hard for me, Benevolent Fund, is the only contribution site that has been verified on behalf of the families. They also warned those wanting to donate about the possibility of scam fundraisers seeking to exploit the tragedy. Those who would like to make non-monetary contribution as a show of support can bring donations to Prince of Peace Church, which is in Burnsville. The church's website has information about things that are accepted at the center. Okay, so that's it. And also there were GoFundMe accounts as well that I have put in the description that have been verified as per another news source, just not the news source that I had here. Yeah, I know there's always scammers. It's gross.
Say shot and killed those 3 first responders. Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension has identified him as 38-year-old Shannon Gooden.
And Bailey Hurley joining us live in Burnsville with the latest. And Bailey Gooden had a long criminal record before this incident.
That's right, Paul. We also learned early this morning from the medical examiner's office that Shannon Gooden died by suicide after he shot himself early Sunday morning. We're also learning from those court documents that Shannon Gooden should have never had access to any of the firearms that were used early Sunday morning. Court documents showing a criminal history that begins back in 2008. Gooden getting a felony conviction here in Dakota County for second-degree assault, and tacked on to his sentence was a lifetime ban on possessing any firearms.
More than a decade later, court records show that Gooden petitioned the court to reinstate those gun rights, telling the court he was a, quote, rehabilitated, productive, and law-abiding member of society.
I'm sorry. I have to listen to that again. Sorry, I wasn't coughing at that statement. I actually had to cough and I was trying not to, but I wanted to hear that because I thought she just said that he petitioned the court and said that he was a law-abiding citizen.
He was a, quote, rehabilitated, productive, and law-abiding member of society.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh, but a productive, law-abiding citizen
who wanted to protect his family. A judge denied that request, though, saying that Gooden had more.
Who wanted to protect his family. Yet he threatened his family, well, at least his significant others, several times.
Or encounters with police and 2 orders of protection that were filed against him. Now, one of those was alleging domestic abuse, the other alleging domestic assault. Somehow still.
Yeah, exactly, Pookie. One of the scammers I'm trying to take down has another 1,000 people following them, and Facebook isn't helping. Wow. Facebook, especially Facebook groups, they're so bad and so just filled with speculation, and I don't do Facebook much at all anymore. I maybe go on there once a week, but those Facebook groups are bad. And I believe this is probably the video then. I thought it was the last video, but there's one video I put in here. It has like maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 seconds of him doing target practice. So just as another disclaimer, I should have noted it before I went live, but I didn't think about it.
Still, though, Gooden was able to get those firearms, something investigators say they're still working to figure out. The Minnesota BCA saying that Gooden was heavily armed Sunday morning.
You know, there's only so much that the law.
Which makes me think that he had been stockpiling these weapons for some time, and that unless he was really good at hiding them, that, you know, the kids and girlfriend/wife would have known about them. Yeah, I know, Corinne. To protect his family, yeah, BS. For sure.
Law and the system can do to prevent people from getting firearms. Everything that we've done in the system, the laws that we pass, the court orders that take place, nothing is a magic wand. Right? People are still out there living their lives. They're able to get guns illegally.
Yeah, and he's right. I was actually thinking that because I would think he wouldn't be able to get them legally, but there's always a way to get something you can't get. So I agree with that man saying that you can get them illegally if you choose.
Now, we are expecting to get an even bigger picture of Gooden's criminal history here later today. Our team has been at the courthouse most of the morning, gathering more information and more court documents. Yesterday, Leah and Paul, the courthouse was closed because of the President's Day holiday. So we'll give you more information on all of those documents tonight on 5 Eyewitness News at 5.
Bailey Hurley in Burnsville reporting for us. Thank you, Bailey. The Burnsville community is really coming together. They want to show their love and their support for the 3 first responders who were killed in the line of duty. So many people are still stopping by the Burnsville fire station, dropping off flowers, bringing food, many telling us they just want the first responders to know they're thinking of them during this difficult time.
They need love poured back into them.
because so much was taken from them.
And firefighters we spoke with tell us they just can't thank the community enough for all this love and support.
And law enforcement leaders are reflecting on this tragedy, many calling it the worst days in decades for Minnesota law enforcement. Former St. Paul Chief Todd Axtell tells us the families are just going to need a lot of support in the years ahead.
A lot of counseling. It's going to take time. It takes a lot of vulnerability to be able to, express the feelings that our officers and medics and firefighters are having day in and day out. The loss of the lives of our heroes in Burnsville will never be forgotten, whether it's today, next week, next year, or 30 years from now.
And you can count on 5 Eyewitness News to stay on top of the story in Burnsville as we learn more about the first responders killed. We'll have all the new developments here on the air, online, and the KSTP mobile app.
All right, so I have one more video. And actually, before we go to this video, this last video, I'm going to go over to Burnsville Police Twitter page that I had clicked on earlier. And so this is just some of the things so this was 2 hours ago. Actually, let me refresh just to make sure that was the last post. Yes, so 2 hours ago, the city of Burnsville posted community gathering tonight at 5:30 p.m. Burnsville city leaders are gathering with the community to honor police officers Paul Elmstrand and Matthew Ruge and firefighter paramedic Adam Fineseth. And you can see that one of the first videos we had watched from when they first put the squad cars out, there was only, a few bouquets of flowers. Now it's just, you can see how the community has turned out and shown their respects best they can. And this was 10 hours ago. The outpouring support for the families of Officer Paul Elmstrand, Officer Matthew Ruge, and firefighter paramedic Adam Fineseth is deeply appreciated. If you would like to offer support to the families in the coming days, find details at burnsvilleminnesota.gov/community updates. That link is also in the description of this video as well, which has much more information in regards to how to help, things like that. And here, this was yesterday, just talking about the procession. So I will put this in chat as well in case anybody wants to look at more of it or follow their Twitter page.
Tonight. In the last 2 hours, the bodies of fallen Burnsville officers Paul Elmstrand and Matthew Ruge were taken from the medical examiner's office in Minnetonka to a funeral home in Jordan, their fellow brothers and sisters in blue escorting them the whole way.
Our Ian Russell is in Jordan tonight with more on this emotional tribute. Ian?
Hey, good evening, guys. Yeah, it's been a very somber and sad afternoon here in Jordan. Hundreds of people came out to show their support as that procession made its way here. And we even saw other people as we were making our way out this way who were lining Highway 169 to show their support as that procession made its way here. And we did have a chance to catch up with some people who were here at the funeral home this afternoon who told me they felt like they had to be here to show their support for so many different reasons. Some said it was because they have first responders in their family and needed to show that support. Others I spoke with told me they are family. One man said Officer Ruge is his niece's son, telling me he was a kind man and a hero.
They are heroes, yeah. They are heroes just for going to work. You shouldn't have to worry about coming home from work, by going to work. Yeah, it's just a shame, yeah.
It was very clear to see the emotion on people's faces that were out here to support, as well as the hundreds of law enforcement officers who were a part of that procession. Just a very emotional afternoon here in Jordan. We're going to go and send it back to you guys.
All right. Thank you, Ian.
And we're learning more tonight about firefighter and paramedic Adam Finseth. He served in the Army Reserves and Army for nearly 5 years between 2003 and 2008. It included being deployed to Iraq twice for a year at a time.
Wow.
He held the rank of staff sergeant at the end of his service. Finseth received many commendations, including an Army Achievement Medal and a Global War on Terrorism Service Medal.
In less than an hour, the Burnsville community will come together again to remember those men. A community gathering is planned outside the Burnsville Police Department and City Hall. This is a live look right now. City leaders say it's another opportunity to gather and honor the men who died serving that community. In the aftermath of the shooting, one of the biggest questions for investigators is, how did the gunman get all those weapons used to kill the 3 first responders?
KARE 11's Lou Ragoose joins us with the latest on the investigation. Lou?
Shannon Gooden was banned from having guns because of an assault conviction, and a judge denied his appeal to have his firearm rights restored. So the question remains, who helped him stock his arsenal used on first responders early Sunday morning?
I will say there were multiple firearms recovered from inside of the residence.
The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is investigating how 38-year-old Shannon Gooden was able to obtain multiple guns, rifles and handguns, as well as a lot of ammunition to use to kill 2 Burnsville police officers and a paramedic. Gooden, seen here on a Facebook video shooting an air rifle, was barred from possessing firearms after a 2007 felony assault conviction. After finishing probation, the charge was lowered to a misdemeanor, but the judge still specified he could not possess guns. In 2020, Gooden appealed to have his gun rights restored and included character references from 3 friends, including his girlfriend and mother of 2 of his kids, who sources tell KARE 11 News was the one who called 911 early Sunday morning to report child.
Oh, and let me just remind that I wasn't paying attention quick, but I wanted to just hear that last part quick.
Girlfriend and mother of 2 of his kids, who sources tell KARE 11 News was the one who called 911.
Okay, so sources are saying that the girlfriend is who called 911. However, it hasn't been confirmed.
Early Sunday morning to report child abuse. In her letter, she wrote, "Family is everything to him, and that's why these rights are so meaningful to him." The judge denied the appeal.
It was very scary being with him.
Gooden's ex-girlfriend and mother of 3 of his children, Noemi Torres, says she had no idea Gooden had those weapons.
I found out about the guns yesterday.
Court documents say Gooden was trying to force Torres to pay him more child support for their 3 kids, despite the fact he made well over $100,000 as an auto painter. In a hearing today, the judge dismissed the case because of Gooden's death, giving Torres full custody.
And I've been in contact with the woman who called 911. She had 2 kids with Gooden. She's not ready to talk yet, but she said she and her kids are safe with family members right now. Rena.
Important to remember that kids were involved in this as well.
Mhm.
All right, thank you, Lou. Well, if you're interested in helping the families of the fallen officers and firefighter, there is now an official donation site. You can donate online or mail a check to the Law Enforcement Labor Services Benevolent Fund. All the proceeds will go directly to the victims' families. You can see the information there on your screen. We can also send you a link with that information and send it directly to your phone. Just text the word donate to 763-797-7215, and we will send that to you. Please remember to text that number. Don't call.
Okay, and I have one last thing to share. And I just want to make sure, because I saw someone send it to me. Now I can't find who it was. Was it Tasha? In any case, if you sent this to me, let me know. I don't remember who told me, but I did check my email, and this is important as well, so thank you. So this was looks like a Twitter post. And this is from Invictus LEMC, Intrepidus, Twin Cities, Minnesota. We would also like to recognize and pray for the 911 dispatchers who not only had to hear the events unfolding, but these professionals also made sure to get other resources from multiple agencies and counties to help. All of this and more while still handling calls from all over the county. These are the heroes that you never see, but are the first responders that are the voice during the worst times in people's lives. Thank you, Dakota 911. So I would assume 3 mothers, because the mom they interviewed, the one that we saw in the clips, had 3 children with him. They said the girlfriend who called 911 had 2 children with him, which means there was the other mom, who I would assume is one of the other ones who had the order of protection against him, would have had 2 with him. No, Corinne, it wasn't that. Somebody in chat had said they sent me something. And so I looked, but now I can't find the message that someone said they sent me something. It was during this chat. Oh, Tonka Girl. There it is. So, yes. Thank you, Tonka Girl. I appreciate that, because that is, I mean, I will admit, I forget about the 911 dispatchers. And they're, you know, like that post said, they're the first responders, and they are constantly fielding calls, calling for extra help, you know, mutual aid, things like that. So everyone who, you know, all the first responders need to be commended and remembered, because these 3 men were heroes in this situation. And while it's tragic that they lost their lives, 7 children and a mom got out of that house alive, because who knows, he could have, you know, he might have taken them out too with him. Because like the one mom said, her daughter told her she wasn't scared until her dad asked her, "Do you want to come with me?" Meaning, do you want to die? And that, I don't even understand it. And unfortunately, none of us will ever know why, because the person who did it is dead. He took the coward's way out after doing what he did. So with that, let me just see. Also, I wanted to mention earlier, for those of you who may not have seen it, there was a press conference in regards to Audrey Cunningham, who unfortunately was found deceased today, an 11-year-old who had gone missing, I believe, on Wednesday, which is very sad news that, you know, she just never made it to school. So definitely want to send thoughts out to her family and friends and community, because it cannot be an easy experience. So thank you everyone for being here. I will be live tomorrow for Would You Rather Wednesday. So I hope you can make it. I believe that's scheduled for 7. I am also going to try to do a live maybe around 11 a.m., depending on how soon I can get things ready. But if not, if I don't go live tomorrow morning with the story that I'm getting ready for, I will definitely be doing it on Thursday, which is out of Los Angeles, and it's either an accident or there's some police corruption involved. And I'm leaning towards cover up, in my opinion. But I'm going to hold my thoughts until that live. Oh, I know, Sinner. Some of the YouTube coverage of Audrey's passing was nothing short of tragedy pimping. Some will do anything for a buck. And speaking of that, one of the, in my opinion, biggest tragedy pimps was live speaking about this young girl saw a comment and went on a several-minute rampage calling them every name in the book while wearing a Layla Santinello shirt, mind you. Just ignore the comment. Like, you're talking about a little girl who at that time was missing. Yes, Corinne, I am on vacation this week. It's winter break. Yep. So I'm going to try to do a live like in the morning-ish and then one at night. But I definitely want to try to get some more lives in this week than I normally do, because once I get back to work, it may not be as much. Yep, so this is winter break, and then we have spring break. So winter break is always the week of President's Day. Spring break is always the week after Easter. And this year, Easter is so early that spring break is the end of the 30 weeks. So we go to school for 40 weeks. Spring break is the end of the 30 weeks. So after spring break, we'll have 10 weeks till the end of school, which it's flying. This year is flying. And actually, we have 8 weeks until the end of school, because the last 2 weeks of school are state testing. So they have state testing twice a year. Aw, thanks, Ashtastic. I appreciate that. I appreciate, hanging out with you guys. And I can't complain. The weather this week, even though it's cold, we haven't had any ice, any snow. Tomorrow is supposed to be warmer than today. And that's why I'm thinking I may not do a live tomorrow, an earlier live, because I want to go outside. Like, I need to start, getting outside more. Hi, Ryan. How are you? Ashtastic, Easter is early. So I'll look it up really quick. I just know I was like, normally it's the middle of April. It's like the first week of April this year. It is. Oh, it's Sunday, March 31st. So it's not even in April. It's the last day of March. Easter is this year. Yep. Yeah, because normally, well, maybe it says just over a week earlier. Right. So it says the date of Easter is determined by the Sunday after the first full moon after the vernal or spring equinox. In 2024, the equinox is on March 20th. So that's the first day of spring. Exactly a month from today is the first day of spring. So, and the following full moon is on March 30th. So Easter would be March 31st. Yeah. Super early this year. Oh, Corinne, you miss being here to chatty. I have to do a live where we just chat. So maybe, yeah, I'll see. Maybe Thursday I can do a chatty live, like early afternoon, just to chat, because we haven't done one of those in a while. All right, everybody. Well, it's been real. Thanks for hanging out with me. Again, remember the victims, because in this case, they are the true heroes in this situation, and they deserve all of the recognition that anyone gives them, because they made the ultimate sacrifice in this incident. Tonka girl, that's great news. You just got approved to become a foster to fur babies. I still have my 2 mama cats, and they're so sweet. And I let them out a couple of days ago. And Kaylee, Kaylee always wants to get out, but then she like freaks out and like runs right back in the room. So one day I went in and I was like, she ran right out. And I was like, oh my gosh. So then I go to get her. Decker, who's the other mama cat, I don't know where she went. She comes walking out of my bedroom and runs back into the room. So I've been trying to get them a little more accustomed because they live in my guest room, but I want to get them so that they can have the whole house. But one of my cats hissed at them. The other cat was like, hey, I have new friends. So we're getting there. And then the fuzzy one outside, actually, Ashtastic, I was just going to talk about the fuzzy one. So I saw the fuzzy one outside yesterday and no luck yet. No luck. And I wish I could because it's been so cold. I know, Pookie, it's really hard to find homes for the older ones. And these two are so sweet. So sweet. And they're besties. So I definitely want to have them adopted together if possible, because they've been together almost a year now. So they're, but I love them. They're so sweet and I don't mind. They're a lot cleaner than kittens, but I definitely miss having kittens around. Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, we'll definitely have a chat live soon. I promise. Maybe Friday night. We'll do a Friday night chat. That sounds like a plan to me. So I hope everyone has a great rest of your night. And if I don't see you on these YouTube streets, I will see you all on the flip side.